Get ready for another episode of Bite Size World Building, the brand new series where we use time bound, goal oriented brainstorming sessions to build our worlds one bite at a time without overbuilding, overcomplicating, or over procrastinating the process so that we're still getting to the writing. I'm your host, CF Claire, an aspiring romance author, a mom of two young kids, and I'm on a journey to become a self published romance author. I have a lot of books to write. I have a lot of world to build. So let's hang out and do a little brainstorming session. What we're focused on today is location. We need some setting, guys. Right now, I'm working on Project Demon, which is a rom-com romantasy adventure myth sort of book. And it's in this large universe where there are demons. It's a demon angel homeworld, no humans. So far, every world building video that I've done has been on Project Demon. So if you're interested, you can check those out if you want, but you don't have to. Really, we're focused on setting today. This project, I have a 14,000 plus word outline and I've been going through it. It's on its third draft right now, and I'm fleshing out some of the more murky bits that I had left last go around, including where are they? I know the conversations they're having right now. I know the plot beats. I know that they are traveling through these certain cities, but like, what are these cities? What is the climate of the area? What are the cities like? Like, what's the layout? I have no idea, right? So that's starting to be important. So this world is largely Greek myth inspired, which is why we're gonna just go with that. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I printed out a bunch of really nice looking ancient Greek maps, well, maps of ancient Greece. And so we're going to use that to come up with our settings. By the end of the session, we are going to have a list of 15 ancient Greek kingdoms, 15 ancient Greek cities, and I don't know what a kingdom looks like. Like, if you were to walk through it, I have no idea. So, like, 15 parts of an ancient Greek kingdom? Does this include vineyards? Does every kingdom have a bathhouse? Does every city have a like? I don't know how many cities are in a kingdom. I don't know. I'm not trying to write a historically accurate ancient Greek rom-com romantasy, so I'm using creative liberty. But we're using this as the springboard because right now I got white room syndrome. The goal is to do it in the next 45 minutes. Right now it is 1:23, and yeah, I need to connect with my 6-year-old and 7.5-year-old soonish and see about making sure that we're ready to go to karate in a few hours. So that's our plan. Let's take a look at what we've got. Immediately, I'm seeing a lot of names for places and realizing that I don't know if they're kingdoms or actual just cities. Like, is Delphi a kingdom? Is it a city? Unclear. Doing these sessions is so humbling because I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm like, I don't know anything. Whoops. For the purposes of what I want, I think that I've got what I need. So we've got Crete, Peloponnesos, Macedonia, Thracia, Mysia, Troas, Lycia, Illyricum, Ionia, Parnassus, Cyprus, Cyclades, Lemnos, Rhodes, and Calabria. So now we're going to pick cities, 15 cities. That, again, we're going to guess, assuming these are cities and not kingdoms and whatever. And there's a lot right off the bat that are very famous. So let's just get those in there. So we have Delphi, Corinth, Argos, Olympia, Sparta, Athens, Troy, Ithaca, Pylos, Knossos, Dodona, Thrace, Thebes, Apollonia, and Thasos. Okay, so now we're going to look up 15 parts of a kingdom. What's going on in these kingdoms? Oh, okay, this is interesting. So I'm on educational.nationalgeographic.org. Greek city-states. That actually does sound familiar. So maybe they didn't call them kingdoms. The Greek city-states were the dominant settlement structure of the ancient Greek world and helped define how different regions interacted with each other. We're learning about things aimed at grades 5 through 8. Fantastic. So this is helping. A city-state or polis was the community structure of ancient Greece. Each city-state was organized with an urban center and the surrounding countryside. Characteristics of the city in a polis were outer walls for protection, as well as a public space that included temples and government buildings. The temples and government buildings were often built on top of a hill or acropolis. The majority of a polis's population lived in the city as it was the center of trade, commerce, culture, and political activity. Great. So this is what we're looking for. Outer walls for protection, temples, government buildings. Can we get more specific? Each city state ruled itself. They differed greatly from each other in governing philosophies and interests. For example, Sparta was ruled by two kings and a council of elders. It emphasized maintaining a strong military, while Athens valued education and art. In Athens, every male citizen had the right to vote, so they were ruled by a democracy. Rather than have a strong army, Athens maintained their navy. Great, this is fantastic. But about those parts of the kingdom. Okay, Wikipedia. Ancient Greek architecture. Ancient Greek architecture, best known for its temples. Second important type of building that survives all over Hellenic world is the open air theater. Other architectural forms that are still in evidence are the processional gateway, public square surrounded by storied colonnade, town council building, public monument, and monumental tomb and the stadium. Types of buildings, that's what we want. The Greek word for the family or household, oikos, is also the name for the house. Houses with courtyards. Agora. What is a stoa? Bouleuterian. Bouleuterian. Towns of substantial size had a palestra or a gymnasium. So that was a lot more reading than I thought. I just kind of got sucked in there. So let me catch you up on what I came up with. It turns out, yes, not really big on kingdoms in ancient Greece, much more the city-state route. I don't know. It's news to me. So I'm not entirely sure that all of these would be found in most city states. It was not super easy to find, just like, hey, walk me through what is in city states. And you'll notice I'm not using AI. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't like AI to begin with in any way, but also half the time that you accidentally, see what AI came up with at the top of the screen, even if you're not looking for it, you'll notice their references are like this Facebook chat page. Just like, come on, man. So, anyways, here's what we think. We think there are outer walls, temples, open air theaters, houses with courtyards, agoras, which are the marketplaces, stoa, which I guess are covered walkways that surround the agora. I, as far as I can tell, public fountains, bouleuterion, which I guess are their courthouses, and then a lot of sports stuff. Wow. So a palestra, wrestling, gymnasium for training and public baths and things like that, hippodrome for horse racing, stadium for foot racing, schools. I'm not looking during a certain time period, so obviously ancient Greece is a very long time period. Schools are not necessarily a given, it seems like. Maybe during a certain time period, men were of high birth were able to go, so we don't know. But anyways, and then I couldn't figure out where people were getting their food from. This is so silly. It seems like there are rural farms outside of the walls of the city state where people have, yeah, farms and orchards and vineyards. So again, can't believe I don't know this stuff, but at the same time, I don't remember learning any of this in school. I don't think we did any ancient history, anything. I feel pretty good about that. That definitely helps visualize what life might be looking like within these cities that I need my characters to be going through because they're traveling through some cities to get to another location. Yeah, very helpful. Something I did not see right off the bat was where travelers would be staying. I assume there are inns or whatever you would, the Greek equivalent. Let's just look that up real quick. Historylink101.com, going from town to town in ancient Greece. Once arriving at a destination, a traveler needed to find a place to stay. A traveler could seek out a proxenoi from their city-state. A proxenoi was an ambassador of sorts who looked out for the citizens from the city-state he represented. If the traveler ran into legal problems, needed tickets, or a place to stay, the proxenoi gave him directions and support. Traveler had several options for lodging. If a person was in town on business, his clients often had a small room or apartments attached to their houses where they could stay. Typically, a businessman would share his first meal in town with his host, and then he was on his own for meals for the rest of his stay. Others might find a place to stay for a small fee in a little room in a private house. There were also inns, but the rooms were usually small and dark. Bathroom at an inn consisted of a pot. Wonderful. If a traveler could not afford a room, he could look for a lesh. A lesh was a public shelter which amounted to a roof over one's head. For example, in Athens, a traveler could go to the agora at night and use the covered sidewalks for shelter. That's very civilized. Unlike America now. I'm American. And boy, do we hate giving people a livable wage or acknowledging that it makes people homeless when we don't. Okay, anyways, so yeah, okay, Wikipedia. Travel in classical antiquity. Most travel was done in the interest of warfare, diplomacy, general state building, or trade. Social motivations for travel included visiting religious sites, festivals such as the Olympics, and health-related reasons. Most travel is difficult and expensive due to the danger of violence, scarcity of well-maintained roads, and variability of travel times on water, as ancient ships are subject to the vagaries of both the wind and the tide. Much of ancient literature is concerned with travel. This is very interesting. Now, again, I'm not doing not being historically accurate here, but it is great for inspiration because, yeah, Greek roads were poorly developed due to the fragmentation of Greek society at the state level and due to the extreme cost of constructing roads in Greece's mountainous terrain. Some roads were difficult to traverse even on foot, and most could not be traversed with the heavy wagons built to haul goods. Notable exceptions were the roads between major cities and nearby sanctuaries and the holy sites, which were built to endure all weather. However, no portion of the Greek highway system included state-sponsored way stations or milestones as found later in Rome. There's danger of violence on Greek roads for the same reason that roads in Greece were poorly and rarely constructed. There was essentially no oversight by official forces, and as such, travelers were prone to being accosted by highwaymen. As such, having a large entourage was useful for protection, and the transportation of valuables was risky. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I need to be figuring out. So I do really like that. Now in Project Demon, we're talking about demons and angels. So technically, angels have their wings for travel, and demons have a different form of being able to travel long distances. But that does not mean they can move goods. So this is actually pretty interesting. I think that does play into a lot of how I want their kingdoms to be set up. It could follow a lot of this Greek stuff because of that. Yeah. All right, but I gotta wrap up. I gotta move on to some other stuff with the kids. Um, I feel really good about this. I feel like I so much better can visualize in my head what these cities are looking like as my characters are walking through them, and then it's a little bit easier to think about what the travel portion looks like between cities, but I think we'll need to do another world building session where I kind of get a better grasp on what the geography and climate are. Because I like all this ancient Greek framework stuff, so I think I'm just gonna borrow the climate and geography too. Why not? Thanks so much for joining me though. I hope your world building's going well. I hope your writing's going well. I hope you're doing well. And I will see you in the next video. And I'll put on the screen also just like a better, easier to see list of the things that we came up with. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.